Breaking today, Meghan Markle has dumped Prince Harry from her Netflix deal. She's the rock star now. And the Fresh Prince is going to have to go and make his own money. I'm going to take you through this hilarious and sensational story in just one moment. But Brittany from the Royal News Network, what do you make of this brutal decision for Meghan to say, actually, mate, Netflix is now all mine. You're going to have to go and find your own deals.
Well, I think for her, it's a dream come true because she's definitely always been super interested in Hollywood, super obsessed with it. And so I think for her to finally have this deal by herself, I think would be a huge coup. But it's also a recognition of the fact that, well, what was actually successful for them was them together. And so for her to go solo is a bit of a risk here. But I'm sure Netflix as well are thinking, okay, we signed you guys to this huge deal. You hardly made any of the metrics that you were supposed to. And Harry, both of his offerings completely and utterly bombed. Polo and Heart of Invictus totally bombed. And while I think With Love Meghan wasn't as good of a performer as they would like us to think it was, it obviously did make it into the top 10, at least for the week in the United States. But I don't think this is good for news for Harry, but I'm sure Netflix is also sitting there thinking, well, if we want to go down, if the divorce is coming at some point, Meghan's definitely the one to get behind.
Well, of course, because we know that she's already shopping this post-divorce book, or at least people close to her are. So this is how The Sun revealed the story, Brittany. They wrote, Meghan is set to land a Netflix deal for a third series of her lifestyle show, but Prince Harry will not be in it. The TV streaming giant's boss, Ted Sarandos, plans to feature only the Duchess, and he even calls her the rock star, sources say. Despite her With Love Meghan series being savaged by reviewers, it will be recommissioned for a third run to be shown next year. The second series, with no Harry or their children Archie 6 and Lilibet 3, has already been filmed and is due to be screened in the autumn. A source told The Sun on Sunday, the relationship between Netflix and Meghan goes far deeper than many people realise. Sarandos has a weekend home near the Sussexes in Montecito, California, and recently said, I think Meghan is underestimated in terms of her influence on culture. Now, regular viewers, Brittany, will know that I've been speaking for some time about this friendship between Ted Sarandos and Meghan Markle. Ted Sarandos has a black wife, and there seems to be some type of, I guess you would say, natural bond there. Meghan's taken them both to see a Beyonce concert, although I would argue this is cynical, knowing how Meghan does manipulate relationships.
100%. Meghan is, I'm sure, fully into, I don't know if you could say flirting, but totally manipulating, I think, Ted, and he's just going along with it, in my personal opinion, because we've seen actual realities of Meghan on the ground, is that her influence on culture is almost entirely negative. People sort of watch her to make fun of her. And so this idea that he has, like, he's, you got to say, almost completely blind to the realities of Meghan. And he's just they're trying to support whatever she's doing, but if they're going with a third season of this mess, I mean, they should at least see how the second season performs first, because what we have seen over and over again with Harry and Meghan is that the curiosity factor sucks people in, but it doesn't go over the finish line. That when it comes to Meghan's podcast, it was what, number 1 or 2 on Apple Podcasts that first week. Now it's not even in the top 200 shows. It completely dropped into oblivion. And I think it's even number, I want to say, in the 40s or 50s when it comes to just even business podcasts. And so this idea that she's going to have this staying power, I think is complete miscalculation. But there's a lot of miscalculation in Hollywood. There's a lot of very, you could say, bad studio heads out there that have ruined massive IPs, let's say Star Wars, for instance. You have a lot of fools in Hollywood too. So I hate to say it, but he's one of them.
Personal relationship with Meghan and his personal desire to be seen to stand by her because she is part of a mixed race couple. He's signing up to that woke narrative, her racism narrative. I just feel like it's so intellectually dishonest.
Meghan Markle's next big streaming project is Meghan only. No Harry in the pitch, credits, or creative. Insiders frame it as a calculated pivot. separate Meghan's brand from Harry's as Hollywood tires of the Sussex drama and demands cleaner, advertiser-friendly content. Nothing's confirmed by Netflix or the Sussexes, but the talk is loud enough to matter. Why now? The Hollywood math is simple. Stability wins. Fair or not, Harry's court fights and PR whiplash make buyers nervous. A Meghan-fronted lifestyle, talk format is easier to package and sell. Executives aren't sentimental. They want predictable deliverables, not headlines about lawsuits.
But where she's been clever, Brittany, is she has given away a big piece of as ever to effectively tie Netflix in. Of course they're going to want to keep on making these series. You know, if she had been a serious businesswoman, Brittany, with a serious plan, like I'm talking about a Gwyneth Paltrow or a Martha Stewart, she's not giving away a huge chunk of her business to Netflix because they're simply running a show. But Meghan is so desperate for someone to back her. So this is the problem. She's trapped him in personally. She's trapped him in professionally. More fool Ted Sarandos. And also to think that she can do it without Harry, I think is quite arrogant as well, because of course so much of the interest has been to see their interaction together, although these days it's always very miserable.
Well, when it comes to the business aspect, I mean, As Ever is a mess. And Netflix, I think, is 100% tied in, because I was looking through my emails from As Ever because I got some products and I was able to review them. And in one email, it says As Ever LLC and Netflix. So they were on the same level, with As Ever being first. But I imagine Netflix fronted a lot of the money for the production of this. But the product line is massively mediocre. I've tasted the vast majority of it. It's all like just pedestrian stuff. It's not that good. And so it just seems very apparent that Ted is completely blinded by his personal relationship with Meghan to see the writing on the wall here, which is that this is going to fail. She doesn't even market it well. None of it is, I think, waiting so long to restock, I think, has resulted in people not being as interested in the brand, even those who didn't get it, who are maybe the curiosity factor. And like I said, I don't think they made much from the initial launch at all, because the batch was so small. None of it even ended up on eBay for resale. People couldn't even buy it to resell it at a premium to make money. There just wasn't even enough of it.
It was a tiny batch, and 2 months later to have no product restocked is not just irresponsible, it's embarrassing. And it's embarrassing that Ted Sarandos is actually allowing Netflix to be dragged down by such a mess. You know, Ari Emanuel quite rightly got out. Now, the Daily Mail and Alison Boshoff in the Daily Mail has been doing some more reporting on this deal. And she writes, one well-placed source tells me what people do not understand about the situation is that Ted Sarandos is a massive, massive fan of Meghan personally. He calls her the rock star. There is no way that her deal does not get renewed. Ted is in the Meghan business, and that is not about to change. He's all in. So while the deal will be re-upped, my source said it's on the basis of Meghan's on-screen presence and of her ideas in the lifestyle arena, and not on account of any ideas Harry has had. The initial Netflix deal was with both Meghan and Harry and reportedly worth £78 million over a 5-year period. The couple promised to create content that informs but also gives hope. Their 2022 tell-all documentary, Harry and Meghan, was a runaway success, racking up 97.7 million hours of viewing in its first week. However, it was followed by Heart of Invictus, which, although a worthy look at the work of Harry's charity for injured servicemen and women, was one of Netflix's worst performers of 2023. Last year's Polo, a behind-the-scenes documentary about the sport which barely featured the Sussexes, did not chart. Those who do business with Netflix believe the new deal will be a much reduced offer compared with their current agreement, and it will be focused entirely on Meghan, and this time without a generous upfront payment. And a senior TV and film producer told the Mail the renewal will be crucial in saving face all round, not least for Netflix. It's like Amazon endlessly renewing Phoebe Waller-Bridge's deal despite her coming up with nothing. It means that the executive who made the hire doesn't look as if they made a mistake. I can see why it makes sense to renew for much smaller money. Meghan's not got anything to the screen as a producer. None of the scripted films or TV shows she talked about have come to fruition, but people are fascinated by her on a global level, and that's not true of many people. And what's interesting, Brittany, is we know that the executive here is Ted Sarandos, so he is sort of saving face himself as well, because it is interesting comparing it with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, paid a exorbitant amount of money to deliver absolutely nothing for Amazon. Most people thought she would be cut loose, but in fact she was renewed on much less money because these people who signed the deal initially can't always admit this was just a disaster. And that's why I actually have respect for Bill Simmons and Spotify for just saying, look, it didn't work. Didn't work. They were grifters. We didn't come up with anything. They didn't want to do anything. We got rid. I would have more respect if that was Ted Sarandos's approach.
The contract angle, again rumored. Meghan's team is said to be tightening solo ownership, separate IP, clean credits, distinct profit participation, so projects live under her name. Some even whisper about broader, just-in-case, legal firewalls, prenup refreshes, content rights language, etc. We can't verify that, but isolating rights is absolutely standard when a brand wants to stand alone. Strategic distancing versus divorce prep. Splitting lanes doesn't prove a breakup. It can be smart even for strong couples, protects deals, streamlines approvals, and lets each build their own slate. But let's be real, Hollywood rarely separates brands without a reason. Meghan thrives as the main character. A solo slate tests whether the audience wants her, not them.
Oh, me too. And when it comes to Spotify, they were 100% right to cut and run. They're like, this is a mess. They're impossible to work with. Their ideas are crap. And so let's just leave them in a rear view mirror and we'll put our money towards better people. Even if they had to, let's say, give Harry and Meghan some money to cut and run, at least it's better than sticking with them and then being tied to the toxic brand that is Harry and Meghan. Now, while when it comes to the deal overall, I can 100% see them going with Meghan and going with a much lower deal, because when Harry and Meghan signed, this was happening all over Hollywood. Many big name producers like Shonda Rhimes and Ryan Murphy were getting these massive deals from these streaming companies in 2020. Well, those have massively been rescinded when they re-signed because some of them at least aren't able to keep up with content. And so they need to reframe and restructure things. And the money isn't rolling in like it used to. We have the streaming wars that's come out with Netflix on top. So Harry and Meghan were better for signing with Netflix. But I think the other problem here is that this idea that people are fascinated by Meghan is sort of a misnomer. They're fascinated to watch her fail. They want to see the failure. They want to see her finally get her comeuppance. And that's sort of the fascination. So the real thing to do, if you really want to capitalize on Meghan, is to do something a la Keeping Up with the Kardashians. A no-holds-barred view of her interacting in her daily life. That is what actually is going to sell. Nothing else has sold. And as ever, you could say, when it comes to Meghan, there's a lot of noise, but it's rarely converting into customers, viewers, those sorts of things. And so people in the media gobble up the media side, but they're not really going and investing in Harry and Meghan's commercial endeavors. And if Ted Sandros can't see that, then, well, he's utilizing his personal relationship to make decisions, and that's just bad as a business person,
well,
in my opinion.
Indeed. I mean, Princess Carpuckle, who's doing some great work looking into this, posted over the weekend, Meghan Markle is the worst brand owner ever. No restock in over 2 months. No brand promotion except on Instagram, which is bare minimum. Most fledgling business owners couldn't afford to not push their brand for 2 weeks on social media, but Markle is relying on her connection to the royal family and her title to do the heavy lifting. She did no press, promos, appearances for as ever. She just threw in some mentions on her appearances promoting her Netflix show. Still no appearances of her products in the Netflix brick and mortar stores. No newsletters, no updates, nothing. That's not sustainable, even for a faux royal. She's lazy, ignorant, arrogant, and will fail because she can't take advice. Harsh but true, Brittany?
Oh, 100% true. I've done a lot of examination of Meghan from the business side, and she is, when it comes to social media, exceptionally lazy. And her promotion of her brand, I don't even still understand what the lifestyle of as ever is that she's trying to promote. She has herself simple pleasures, washing blueberries. I wash blueberries too, Meghan. Don't do it in a kitchen in a house worth $15 million, but I also wash blueberries. What is the point? What's deeper here? Because we're in a very very savvy media age. And so we're not as, I would say, enticed by people who are showing random, very curated pictures on Instagram. And she's not giving us, I think, anything of value. And even when she shows, let's say, her, like she's in the kitchen, she posted that latest picture of As Ever, of her in the kitchen. There's no single branded As Ever product. And I would almost guarantee you that that photo was taken for American Riviera Orchard. It wasn't even taken for As Ever. She hasn't even taken the time to re-look at her brand and figure out how As Ever is different from American Riviera Orchard and change up how she is promoting the brand. I mean, I would not be surprised if most of the pictures she's posting are a year old on As Ever, because she doesn't take the time to rethink things. She rushes through. That's why all the products are mediocre. It's because she did not take the time to really, I think, go through all the quality assurance processes. I mean, I have mistakes on some of my products from As Ever. I have a sticker that's crooked, like all these sorts of things that should not be happening in a brand that's a premium. But I mean, it goes back to the overall thing. I don't think Meghan knows how to promote her brand, what her brand is. She just wants to say, please give me money because I'm a duchess. That's her whole brand strategy.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, Brittany, this latest As Ever post. Stir, sip, repeat. Savoring moments, slow and sweet this holiday weekend. I mean, it's just
what does it mean?
Bad.
It's so bad. It's so incredibly bad. And you can hire people to help you create and manage the brand. Like, it's so obvious she's doing it. Sometimes she reposts her own posts from As Ever on the As Ever stories. And I'm like, but there was nothing there. Like, what are you doing? She's so incredibly behind the times when it comes to social media strategy. So even if she's hiring branding experts, she's still the one dictating, because we can see how bad this is. Anybody with any sort of media savvy can see how awful this whole strategy is. And if she wants it to be taken seriously, then she needs to start actually putting in the effort, like getting products together, explaining if there's going to be seasonal packages versus something that's stable in her shop. But I think she's terrified that if she actually puts, let's say, 10, 20,000 products up for sale, I think she'll find they'll take a long time to sell out. And that's what's really worrying her. She really wants to be seen as successful. And so she'll use any manipulative tactic, like having a super small batch in order to start her brand and then not. But of course, it's like, I think production delays or something. I don't know. Anyways, the whole As Ever thing is just a mess.
What it means for brand Sussex: fewer joint interviews, fewer dual credits, less us against the world. That could actually stabilize both. Meghan leans lifestyle, hosting, producing. Harry focuses on Invictus and veterans advocacy. The risk? Viewers read the distance and decide the fairy tale's fading. What to watch next? Receipts, rumors, press releases listing Meghan only as EP host, separate red carpets, distinct comms teams, fresh IP filings tied to Meghan alone, and fewer Harry cameos in Meghan-fronted shoots. None prove anything alone. Together, they sketch the playbook.
It is a total mess. What is also a real mess, Brittany, is this desperate desire that Meghan keeps on trying to get big names to come into her orbit, to either do Confessions of a Female Founder, to do With Love Meghan. We know that she'd been turned down by Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Megan Thee Stallion, and now revealed by Kinsey Schofield. Watch this. The latest, Brittany, is Dolly Parton.
They dropped this bombshell. Meghan's team has, quote, openly pursued Dolly for the Netflix show. Dolly declined, and now the interviewers are adding Meghan questions. Team Dolly doesn't want the comparisons. According to YouGov, Harry's favorability rating, Prince Harry, has dropped to 27%, its lowest for more than 2 years. And Meghan's is now at 20%, the lowest since YouGov even started tracking her back in 2017 when her and Prince Harry announced their engagement. Any association with Harry and Meghan would just attract negative attention. That's how you end up with guests like cyberbully Chrissy Teigen on your program.
I mean, it's true, isn't it, Brittany? Chrissy Teigen is the big star for Series 2. Probably one of the only people regarded as a bigger bully than Meghan Markle herself. Of course, Dolly Parton would have been a great guest. I mean, I love Dolly Parton. I've interviewed her many, many times. Wonderful woman. She is absolutely someone you want to have as part of your show. I loved it. She appeared on my former podcast. I interviewed her in my old role at ITV. And Dolly's a real Anglophile, right? Like, she loves everything connected to the United Kingdom and the royal family. But I think she's totally right to say no. I would be devastated if Dolly dragged herself into that orbit.
Well, smart people in Hollywood have sort of figured Harry and Meghan out in that getting involved in their orbit just doesn't really seem to go well for anyone. And so people smart like Dolly Parton is well beloved in the United States. And so I just can't even remotely see her going, yeah, I need to connect with Meghan Markle. That's going to be so helpful to me and my brand. No. She is known for being very loving and very kind. And so she doesn't really want to be associated with Meghan. And so do a lot of other people. They're wanting to keep their distance. And Meghan is just having a hard time, I think, attracting top level talent. It's sort of why her podcast has failed so badly is I don't know who anybody is that she's interviewing. And if the best you can get for season 2 of With Love is Chrissy Teigen, I mean, that tells you a lot right there. Where's Jessica Alba? Where's Kerry Washington? Where's Tyler Perry? Why aren't they appearing on there? They might socialize with Meghan, but they are very careful not to too closely associate themselves with her either. They don't really want to be involved in the projects. They know they fail. I mean, so best to stay away. And that's what everybody's doing. And so I think Meghan will always have a difficult time attracting big level talent.
Bottom line, if the solo project lands, it's either a smart rebrand or the soft launch of a much bigger life pivot. For now, it's alleged, but it tracks with how Hollywood protects investments. Your take, smart business move or early divorce optics? Drop a comment. If you're not buying the stronger than ever PR line, hit like and subscribe for more breakdowns with context and the word alleged exactly where it belongs.